and 0 interest for 2 years. Hurry, the sale ends soon, so don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Schedule a fast free estimate now at windownation.com.
Dry January doesn't have to be dull, especially at Greenlight. This month, we're keeping Kansas City lifted with special deals on 8s of flour, gummies, and vaporizers all month long. Whether you're taking a break, resetting, or just skipping the hangovers, Greenlight's the perfect companion for your Dry January. Visit any of our 5 KC locations: State Line, Bannister, Independence, Harrisonville, or Ward Parkway. With prices this good, you might start rethinking your resolutions. After spending Dry January with us, you may never go back. The best cannabis deals always at greenlightdispensary.com.
Nearly 50 years ago, Wholesale Batteries opened their doors and sold their first battery. Times have changed, but our commitment to customer service
All right, welcome back here to the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you for joining us here on a Tuesday. College baseball, before you know it, it will be going. I always love going down to spring training in Surprise, Arizona. Usually Oregon State is there holding court with a little tournament, and the college baseball is going on out on the fields before the Royals take it. So before we know it, college baseball will be played. And before you know it, the College Baseball Hall of Fame will be open here in Kansas City out at the Prairie Fire Museum. It is a great time to talk with one Royals Hall of Famer. College Baseball Hall of Famer Alex Gordon joins us here, and Tom Jacobs, the College Baseball Foundation CEO and Executive Director, have joined us as we have an exciting announcement to make. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're thrilled to be here.
And I get just a little bit closer to that microphone so we make sure we can hear you, Tom. Let's start out, first of all, we have a little partnership here between Sports Radio 810 WHB and the College Baseball Hall of Fame. I could get the joy of broadcasting. We're going to have a broadcast studio that we can use here at 810. And I know we've been excited, something we've been talking about, and some of our great partners like Kevin Timmons over at Nick and Jake's. I know this is a passion of his. We've been talking about this for a while. We're excited to announce that, one, construction's underway. Alex was just talking about being over there and seeing it. But two, also we're going to have a great partnership between 810 and the College Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really kind of the big news for today. It's something we've been working on for a number of months now with Chad Boger and with Sandy Cohen. And we're just so excited because, as we were talking about earlier, what we do with the College Baseball Hall of Fame, it's all about telling stories. It's the storytelling. And there's nobody that does that better than Sports Radio 810. So we're absolutely thrilled, to have Sports Radio 810 as our official media partner with the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Yeah, and as you mentioned, as a part of that, in the physical structure that'll be the Hall of Fame, we'll actually be building out a recording studio. As a matter of fact, Chad and Sandy were just over there last week. We were taking a look at the space. Looks like it's going to be about 16 by 9, broadcast type booth, that we're working on over there. But it'll be fantastic. Opportunity to do live broadcasts over there, podcasts, all sorts of opportunities to really, we feel this is a great partnership, again, to kind of do that storytelling about the College Baseball Hall of Fame, but more importantly, about, guys like Alex here who are part of that special fraternity.
I know being a locally owned and operated company, everybody here is from Kansas City. Like we love, things that are going on that are Kansas City based, that the story is Kansas City, and to get this, I know how excited we all were to get the College Baseball Hall of Fame here in Kansas City. So it's one of the things that we think is really important here at 810. I know it's important to Sandy and to Chad and to always be a part of what's going on in the community and everything. So I know how excited everybody here is to be a part of it and just what it's capable of. Actually, I mentioned, we were talking during the break, you've been over there and seen the build out and how it's going to maybe start laying out and what people are going to see. What can you tell us? Like, where's the excitement level, knowing that this is finally going to be something people can see and feel and actually touch and be a part of?
Yeah, I think it's going to be unbelievable. I was over there yesterday, like you said. We were doing a photo shoot for anti-bullying through the College Hall of Fame and had a bunch of kids over there. So afterwards, after our modeling pictures, we got to walk through the facility and see it. It's still got a lot of work to do, but it's up and coming, and it's going to be exciting when it's all done. I think it's in a great area with a community in Kansas City that's ready to support it, so I'm excited.
I mentioned some of the other folks that have put a lot into this, and every time I talk to somebody, they mention your name. This is something that's been a passion of yours as well, right? Why is, recognizing college baseball? We remember you at Nebraska, being Royals fans. We knew the Royals had a high pick, and I remember watching that College World Series going, well, we think Upton's going one. We're going to get a chance to get this guy. So we remember your college days probably more than we do most guys that wore the Royals uniform. And why has it been such a big thing for you? Because I know you've put a lot of your time and energy into this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it kind of all came full circle with this College Baseball Hall of Fame team. I remember back in Nebraska in college, I won the Player of the Year, so I got to go down to Texas Tech where the facility used to be. It wasn't really a facility; it was more of a warehouse. But got to check it all out, meet these great people like Tom, and then we kind of went our separate ways. I went to the Kansas City Royals for a long time, and then when we kind of got recommitted with this project, and it being in my backyard, just loving Kansas City, being part of Kansas City, I knew I wanted to do anything possible to get it here and be a part of it. So happy to do anything I can to help, and it's an exciting project for sure.
How nice is it that you guys?
I was going to say, can I tell a quick story about our friend Alex here?
Storytelling.
So he's
that's what you said it's all about.
Oh, absolutely, and you can't make this stuff up. So when we were going through the process of trying to find our first, physical location, our home for the College Baseball Hall of Fame, and we came here to Overland Park, Alex was part of that team. I don't know if you remember being in that conference room with everybody, and immediately our board chair, Craig Ramsey, and I, when we had a break, we stepped out and we called our current executive director at the time, Mike Gustafson. We said, hey, Mike, is Alex eligible to go into the College Baseball Hall of Fame yet? Because you had to be finished with your major league career for a number of years before being able to go on the ballot. And again, you can't make this up. He's like, well, as a matter of fact, this is the first year that he's eligible to be on the ballot. And so not only was he on the ballot, but was, near unanimous, selection based on his incredible collegiate career. And going back to when he won the Player of the Year, the Brooks Wallace Award, which is actually how our organization started. It started with that award, and a couple years into it, it might have been after the year you won it, the guys were saying, well, hey, we should have an affiliation with the College Baseball Hall of Fame. This award should be on display there. And they started checking around and found out there was no College Baseball Hall of Fame at the time. So that's when they created the College Baseball Foundation. The College Baseball Hall of Fame inducted the first Hall of Fame class in 2006. But Alex here has the distinction of being one of our first annual award winners when he won the Brooks Wallace Award for Nation's Top Player, to then years down the road be inducted into to the College Baseball Hall of Fame. You beat Steven Strasburg by 2 years.
Yeah, there you go.
Steven's the second one to have that distinction. He was our Pitcher of the Year back in '08, and he's part of this year's Hall of Fame class that's going to be inducted coming up here in February.
Who's in that class?
Oh my gosh! Well, it's a large class, a lot bigger than the class that Alex had. We have 21 going in this year, but some of the notables, as I mentioned, Steven Strasburg, David Price, Mark McGuire, Phil Nevin, Scott Boras, some incredible managers like Ray Tanner.
That's a no joke. List of names.
Norm DeBrine from Arkansas. It's another outstanding class that we're really proud of. And again, this all goes back to now having a physical Hall of Fame, being able to preserve the legacy of guys like Alex and the other 195, soon to be 195 Hall of Famers, telling their story, preserving their legacy for generations to come.
How have you noticed, guys, that, because this is something, like Tom said, we didn't have this. It wasn't kind of a known thing. It's just getting its momentum going. Long overdue, but how much are guys' awareness, the guys that played college baseball, and how much is it becoming more of a thing when you talk to guys you played with or against and knowing that, hey, this Hall of Fame's there and it's real, and how much is it kind of being amongst the fellas a known commodity?
Yeah, well, give credit to Tom and his crew for getting the word out there and really taking ownership and getting this project started. I know we had a pretty intense battle between Omaha and Kansas City, and when it really came down to it, Kansas City pulled it off. But I think guys are starting to recognize it. This golf tournament that's happening in April is going to help out a lot. Bring in a lot of Hall of Famers, create some buzz, and you just heard Tom talk about the list for this upcoming Hall of Fame. I mean, those guys coming in and being a part of this is going to make a huge difference, and I think each and every year it's going to grow and be even bigger and bigger. So exciting.
Yeah, Alex mentioned the golf tournament, April 19th and 20th, and that's one that you're looking for golfers, right? People can be a part of?
We absolutely are. So again, Alex, along with Joe Carter and Roger Clemens, are the three hosts for the tournament. Half the
if only there was some accomplishments there. Maybe some important home runs in World Series. A couple guys got that. Maybe some big outs in World Series.
It's a trio of nobodies.
Yeah, right.
Gold gloves, maybe some silver sluggers, maybe some RBI titles.
No rings.
You would think we could have done better than that, right?
World Series homers,
No, we are so thrilled and honored to have those three, kind of leading the charge with this. But yeah, so half the field is going to be comprised of Hall of Famers and celebrities, and the other half is available for purchase for individuals, corporations, et cetera. Yeah, coming up April 19 and 20, we're going to do a really nice dinner the night before for all the Hall of Famers and guests, and then the tournament the next morning, April 20th, 10 o'clock, the Nicholas Club at Iron Gate.
Or Lionsgate.
Lionsgate, yeah, excuse me, Lionsgate. I did live here before, but I'm just recently moved back to the area, so refamiliarizing myself with it. But no, it's going to be an outstanding event, and if people want information about it,
how do they get it?
Yeah, they can just go to our website, cbhof.org, and there's information, the Legends and Legacy experience, which has all the information on there.
Yeah, CBHOF, College Baseball Hall of Fame. Make it easier for
org.
simpletons like me to remember if I know what the letters are for. CBHOF.org, and you can get more information on the golf tournament and playing in it. Again, it is coming up on April 19th and 20th, 2 days. Right, or is one the dinner and then the tournament's the next, or vice versa?
Dinner Sunday evening, tournament the next morning.
Okay. So then the spots are pretty limited. I was like, well, if you got 2 days where the flights, that's a lot of spots. But if you want it, get it now. Would probably be the advice that I would have for that. What kind of plans do you have for what's going to happen with the museum, events, all the different awards? I mean, I assume now that you get a physical home for everything, now you can really start taking off on what it is you want to do.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. We're so excited about any and all of that. So first of all, one of the great things the organization did years ago was create a relationship with, as I mentioned, the organization was founded in Lubbock, a bunch of folks affiliated with Texas Tech. Over the years, we've collected a huge amount of artifacts, memorabilia that's all professionally stored, curated, housed in what's called the Southwest Collection on the campus of Texas Tech. Well over 3,000 pieces of memorabilia and artifacts. We can't even begin to display all of that and what we're going to have here. There'll be some things that'll be of such historical significance that they'll be on kind of permanent display, if you will. But it also gives us the opportunity to rotate things through, keep things fresh, have different exhibits highlighting different areas of college baseball. Example I always use, with March being an NAIA basketball tournament here in Kansas City, having an NAIA baseball display with all that type of stuff. And again, just to be clear, we represent all of college baseball. NCAA Divisions 1, 2, and 3, NAIA, junior college, HBCUs, the whole spectrum. So it's going to be a combination of those types of displays, but then also a lot of engaging, interactive types of things as well. After we selected Kansas City to be the permanent home for the Hall of Fame, we went through a similar process to partner with an architectural design firm. We ended up selecting Populous, which is based right here in Kansas City. They've done a fantastic job. We've been through the conceptual design phase. We've been through what's called the schematic design phase. And now we're getting ready to start the build out and the framework. So it's roughly about 9,000 square feet of space within the Museum of Prairie Fire that we'll be building out the exhibits, the galleries. That'll include, a clubhouse theater when you first come in, what we're calling the Tunnel of Dreams, which takes you from the clubhouse theater, down to the inner sanctum of the Hall of Fame itself, which is 360 degrees. All the Hall of Famers will be represented in there. And then we'll have different galleries. We'll have an All-American gallery, a National Champions gallery, a History and Traditions of College Baseball gallery. We'll have the recording studio as well. And then in the back part of it, and this is and we've been doing lots of different partnerships. Excited, obviously, to announce the one today, but one we announced back in April with a company called Home Run Dugout. And we'll have a couple of their virtual batting bays that'll be part of the College Baseball Hall of Fame. So, you get a chance to go through the Hall of Fame and, get inspired by all the stories, and then you get a chance to step up to the plate and take a few cuts as a part of your experience.
Yeah, a little bit of everything for everyone in the baseball, all the baseball fans out there. Well, what took you to college, Alex? I mean, I'm sure I didn't look. I should have looked and seen. Were you drafted out of high school, or were you one of those guys that nobody saw you, or was it the number was so low? How'd you end? What was your story on how college baseball was the path for you?
Yeah, good story here. I grew up as a kid. My dream was to become a Major League Baseball player in high school. Had a pretty good high school career, so I was starting to get looked at by scouts, and it was rumored that I was supposed to go, anywhere from the 3rd to 5th round out of high school, and that draft came, and I was never selected.
You weren't selected at all, and that was back. We're not talking about the 5-round COVID draft, right, or the
big draft. So what I later found out, which I really am thankful that they did this, is my mom and dad told all the scouts that I was going to college no matter what, and they didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
So they tanked your stats.
They knew I was immature, and then if I was off on my own out of high school, I wouldn't have made it. So it was the best thing for me going to the University of Nebraska, which was my hometown. So blessed to do it, and obviously it worked out pretty well in that regard.
When did you find out that that's what they did?
Oh, just a couple months later. Yeah.
Oh, really? So
they knew I was upset at the time when it happened, but they didn't say anything, and they had the best interest in me at the time. So it was just something that unfolded, and looking back on it now, if I would have went out of high school, who knows where I would have ended up. So I'm grateful for that.
How long did it take you to get over that?
Not that long.
Really?
When I stepped foot on campus, I realized college was a lot of fun, so I enjoyed myself for 3 years, and then got out of there. So it was good.
Did you major in criminal justice?
There was a bunch of majors I majored in. I was majoring
mostly
in baseball. Yeah. So
Exactly.
Criminal justice. I'm surprised you know that, but yeah, that was part of it. I always say if I didn't make it in professional baseball, I would have been a cop or a firefighter or something like that. So that's the kind of route I was going.
Yeah, we're very similar in that. Neither one of us was going to do a desk job, but one of us had athleticism, and the other one's a fat toad. So I may not sit at a desk, but I sit in front of a microphone. But I had that same I'm not sitting there at a computer and staring at a computer all day. That's not happening. So
now what do you do?
No, I sit and stare at a computer all day, but I stare at the things I want to stare at. I stare at your stats.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Those are the things that I think are cool. What do you think about that? They have minimized, and I think this is going to make the Hall of Fame even more important for years to come. Cut down on how many minor leagues there are. And to me, it was I know it was, from talking to people, largely an economic deal. Like, we're funding our whole minor leagues. Look at football. They don't fund any of their minor leagues, right? The colleges do it. And that has driven more kids to college, and it's made college baseball more important? I mean, do you think that's a good thing for the sport? And do you think it'll balance out? I mean, I talked to the guys that are scouts and GMs now, and they tell, well, we don't have all the teams, and boy, a guy's got to jump right here. You know, when you came through college and, you know, you were meeting up with guys that didn't take the college route.
Yeah.
What do you think about how baseball's tweaked that and how much they are leaning now more on college to do the development process?
I think you said it perfectly. The development you get out of college baseball is huge, and there's only a select few, I think, that can go from high school to pro ball, talent level wise, but just to grow up on and off the field and have that college experience, I think, is key for a lot of people. So, you know, I have a freshman in high school. His dream is to play college baseball, so I'm starting to get into it a little bit now, but it's exciting, and I'm really happy with what the Players Association has done with the minor league system, kind of cutting it down a little bit and just making it you know, the minor leaguers weren't treated that well. You weren't getting paid well, so they've done a good job of adjusting things like that and making the minor leagues a little bit more enjoyable.
And the Players Association is doing it. They have taken you're now a part of the Players Association when you're in the minor leagues. That's very different than when you were coming up.
Yeah, it's huge. So I was a player rep for the Kansas City Royals for 5 years, so I was a part of that transition on just really making the quality of life in the minor leagues a lot better than what it was, and I think they've done a good job of that.
By the way, does your son have a choice on where he goes, or are we going to pull
we're not
your
talking about
parents
that
did?
yet, but he's a freshman in high school, so he's got a long ways to go.
Opens up his closet. There's just a Nebraska jersey hanging. Wait, I didn't buy this, did I?
Yeah.
Although we do live in Kansas City now, so you got to remember that.
Yeah,
that's true.
Okay, that's true. That is true. You still have both. Do you still go back and forth? I know you did that for a little while, so you still have. Whether it's a place, you have a place in Nebraska too, don't you?
Yeah, we have a.
We don't want Nebraska fans thinking you turned your back.
No,
on
we have a place.
There's plenty of Huskers down here.
Trust me, we used to go back to Nebraska to watch all the football games, basketball games, and whatnot. And now that our kids are in high school, middle school, elementary school, they've taken over our lives, and we don't get back as much as we'd like to. But the drive on I-29 is easy. I can make it there in 2.5 hours. So we try to get back as much as possible.
I got a freshman at Creighton, so I know the route.
Yeah.
You know, I can't remember where you break off to go to Lincoln, but
Highway 2, I-29 to Highway 2. Yeah.
Highway 2. What town is that?
Nebraska City.
Nebraska City. Okay, I'll have to look for it now. Now I know to look for it.
I hate that drive, but it's a really easy drive, but it's really boring too at the same time.
Yeah, so. That's funny because I'm in my first year of making it regularly, right? And we're like, God, it's an easy drive. It's not bad. Yeah. Maybe by our senior year, I'll be like, all right, enough of this.
There's
like,
that building again.
You know,
right.
I don't know how many times my wife can go, that's where we stopped. I know that's where you stopped. I got it. It's great. We'll get in there.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Omaha and what an easy drive that is, because Omaha is still very important to us.
Yes.
We've got a great relationship with all the folks up there, and certainly during the College World Series, day trip down to Kansas City to come visit the College Baseball Hall of Fame. You know, it's an easy drive.
Just have Alex drive you. You're 2.5 hours away. You know, even easier than what Apple Maps will tell you. Right? Like, that's good to know. That's good to know. We're talking right now about the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Actually, we got brick and mortar. We got real construction going on. Should be done 26, right? We have this year. Everything's going to be done. Inductions coming up. Got a great class.
Yes.
Right, and it's same website. CBHOF, College Baseball Hall of Fame, is what it stands for. CBHOF.org. If people want to be a part of that, be a part of the tournament. You know, and any other information we need to get out there.
Well, the other thing I forgot to mention, and I can't believe I buried the lead on this one, but one of the other galleries that I failed to mention was our awards gallery. Of course, you know, Alex is featured in there as well as the winner of the Brooks Wallace Award. But we've got a number of awards that are under our purview or under our umbrella with the College Baseball Foundation. So the Brooks Wallace Award, as we mentioned, the John Olerud Two-Way Player of the Year Award, National Pitcher of the Year Award. We have 2 coaching awards. We have the Skip Bertman Coach of the Year Award, which is now presented by Marucci. We just did a deal with them. And then one that we just implemented this past year for the first time, the Wayne Graham Award for Teaching Excellence. And Larry Lee from Cal Poly was our inaugural recipient of that award. So somebody that's done a great job not only on the field of developing talent, but developing these young men, you know, for the rest of their lives. We also have the George H.W. Bush Award, named after
former President Bush. Yeah, he's a big baseball
Bush
fan,
41.
obviously.
Yep, captain of the Yale team, played in the first College World Series, and was thrilled to be the namesake and inaugural recipient for that. As a matter of fact, we've only awarded that 7 times in our 20-plus year history, looking to make that more of an annual event. We most recently awarded it this past April to Forrest Hoagland from the University of Kansas.
Okay.
So that'll be on display there as well. And then we have a couple of awards that have affiliation with us. The Hauser Trophy has affiliation with the Hall of Fame, and that'll be on display there, as well as the Buster Posey Award for the nation's top catcher, obviously, and administered out of the Wichita Sports Commission, Kevin Jenks and the group down there. So all of that will be a part of the awards gallery.
Do we have an Alex Gordon Award coming at some point, like excellence in outfield defense, clutch home runs in World Series?
Hauser Award.
All around.
Yeah. Okay.
He does have one thing. He'll be the only third baseman ever to win the Brooks Wallace Award. Because the first 5 years it was anity, then they changed it to just shortstop. So you're the only third baseman who will ever be the winner of the Brooks Wallace Award.
I don't really consider myself a third baseman, though.
That's true. Or left fielder. Kurt Suzuki, Alex Gordon, Brad Lincoln, David Price, and Buster Posey. And then they turned it over to shortstops in 09.
Nice.
Because Brooks Wallace was a shortstop.
Very cool.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, I got to give you my final 4, right? 4 quickies. Alex has heard these before back in the day. So I'll start. I got 2 each. I'll divide them up, 2 each.
Okay.
Yours are real simple, Alex. We're going to do a little test for you. Who'd you do the best against? What pitcher did you own?
Surprisingly, a Missouri guy, Max Scherzer.
Max Scherzer.
And it was unbelievable.
Wow.
And
You owned him.
Even though when he went over to the Nationals, we went over an interleague play, and it was later in my career, and it was like a news story how good I hit off him.
Max
and then I ended up going 3 for 4 off him that day. So
Yeah.
I think it was just because he was a Big 12 foe and a Missouri guy.
Yeah, Max Scherzer's a hump compared
Crazy,
to when
right?
he stepped up on
That's
the
awesome.
Wait, what are the numbers?
Career slash line 390, 510, 732, 1242. That's like
I think he knew it too.
prime time Barry Bonds numbers.
Okay, so we led with the good.
Yep, I knew that one.
What's the bad?
Ooh,
Who owned you?
You know, I got a great story. I don't think this is the guy, but
Okay.
Corey Kluber, his first big league appearance was against Kansas City Royals. I was leading off, and I went into the dugout, and I told all my teammates, I go, hey, I'm going to take this rookie in the fountains, first pitch. Sure enough, I did. And I came around in the dugout, and I was all pumping up the crowd, or pumping up the dugout. We ended up batting around, and then I went back up, and the first inning, he struck me out on 3 pitches, and that was kind of the rest of my career against him.
Yep.
I came back to the dugout, and I was like, this guy's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, we can confirm because the numbers are
155, 246, 293, 539.
It was Corey Kluber.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's Corey Kluber.
Scherzer and Kluber.
We did minimum 50 plate appearances. We didn't want anybody who got you. You know, you were 0 for 1 against.
50 or plus, those were the 2 that you had the best and worst
Yeah, and usually
OPS.
they would try to put lefties against them to play instead of all the righties because of the sinker. And
But you guys remember everything.
Yeah,
the recall is amazing.
My wife, it drives her crazy. She'll be like, "Hey, what's your cousin's birthday?" I'll be like, "I have no idea." And then, what'd you do in 2012 on this game? And I'll be like, "Oh, I went 3 for 4 with 2 doubles." And she's like, "How do you remember that kind of stuff?" And I'm like, "I have no idea, but I do."
All you guys, I remember Al Fitzmaurice doing pre and post with him for a year, and he would rattle off everything. And Al Fitz would go down and talk with people out in the crowd. And then he'd come back up, and I remember when I first started working with him, I'm like, hey, this guy's not even taking this serious, man. He's just down there. And we get going. I'm like, okay, well, in the third, when this, you know, he came with the slider, and like he would be carrying on a conversation and watching the game from various parts of the ballpark. You guys, I think it is part of what makes you guys so good is you have, to quote Zach Greinke used to talk about the touch gene. Mm-hmm. You guys have the follow it gene. Like you are aware of everything that's going on in that game more than anybody else could possibly realize,
and can bring it and can draw it back up. Can pull it back up on
it. It is stunning. All right,
I can.
So Tom, now your turn. All right,
Mine are going to be as easy, right?
They are. They're going to be just as easy because they're actually Alex Gordon questions for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll start you with who was the toughest pitcher you ever faced. You got a story or anyone that ever was like in just baseball. Maybe it's in the business side of things. Anyone that gave you fits as far as your story coming along the way?
Oh, you mean career-wise?
Career-wise, or you can harken back to youth, whatever. I don't care. Just who's your Corey Kluber?
Timmy.
Wow. Wow,
Very clever.
that's a great question. I'd have to give some thought to that. I'm actually from Overland Park originally.
Okay.
Grew up playing 3-2 baseball.
So is there a local nemesis we can call out here on the radio today?
Not that I would remember.
You don't remember?
That's for sure.
Just
But,
all umpires? All 12-year-old umpires who didn't have a feel for the strike zone?
It was for sure umpires because I was a pitcher.
Okay.
And so everything that I thought was a strike, of course, got called a ball. But,
Okay.
Come on, Blue. I need that.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Exactly.
And then I'm curious if you've ever had this experience. Did you ever get a standing ovation or a room full of laughter? I can't remember what the reaction was, just for eating a piece of pizza. Did that ever happen to you, or is that just an Alex Gordon thing?
No, I think that's just an Alex
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
They call it Tuesday for us two fat asses over here. It happens all the time, but it was a big deal when Alex. Was it just a bite? It wasn't even a whole slice. Was it?
I thought I was going to let it loose after I retired, and unfortunately I got worse. So as you get older, you're just trying to feel better and better, and that's what I'm trying to do. So pizza's not in the diet right now, but every once in a while I'll do it.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
We love it. Hey, listen, we love the partnership. We can't wait to experience it, see everything finished. Again, I want to encourage everybody, go to the website, CBHOF. That's C as in college, B as in baseball, Hall of Fame, cbhof.org. You can check out all the details on the golf tournament, the upcoming induction, everything that's going on with the College Baseball Hall of Fame, and we're thrilled to have the partnership. We're going to have a studio over there. Look forward to broadcasting over there. Maybe we'll bend this guy's ear, force him to come down and chat with us from time to time.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to some really great stuff over there.
Yeah,
we appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
You bet. We'll take a break. Come back. More here on the program. All right, Shockey, we went a little long there with our friends from the College Baseball Hall of Fame. If you missed it, catch the podcast, Hour 1 Plus, we'll call it. I don't know if it'll have a different designation.
Hour 1.2.
We want to thank again both Alex Gordon, Royals Hall of Famer, College Baseball Hall of Famer, and Tom Jacobs, who is the College Baseball Foundation CEO and Executive Director. That's basically the group that runs the College Baseball Hall of Fame. We are excited to announce we will have a studio over there. They are working on it right now. The build-out is going on. Of course, their Hall of Fame class is coming up. The golf tournament is coming up on April 19th and 20th. They got a dinner and a tournament. Get more information. Go to that website, cbhof.org, collegebaseballhalloffame.org. You can check out all the information on it. Really appreciate Tom and Alex spending some of their time. I know both of them have worked very, very hard on this, and Alex, I know, has put in a lot of time on this. So it's a labor of love, but it is a labor nonetheless, and we appreciate their time. We'll take a break. Matt Derrick talking Chiefs next.
All right, how many quarterbacks have won the Heisman, led their team to a national championship, and been the number one pick in the NFL draft? Brought to you by La Feta Delicatessen.
He has a name that echoes throughout Chiefs history. He also has a name that does not. He's Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest on the program.
Well, I'll tell you what, I never thought I'd live to see it, but the way Matt Derrick came in and said, hey, let's go, out.
Whoever you
I'm
are.
Up. Let's go. You with the beard,
Hey,
up,
beard.
That's my chair.
Hey, quarter zip. Move your ass.
I spent most of the last 30 minutes hiding. I was hiding in the mailroom for a little bit so that I didn't get in the way.
Well, that's a fun place to hang out.
Didn't embarrass myself.
Yeah.
Then I hid back in the control booth back here.
Matt saw the studio audience and said, "This is it for me."
Yeah.
I was purposely making that so I did not have to say excuse me
Yeah.
to walk past anyone.
If you're just joining us here in the program, Tom Jacobs, the College Baseball Foundation CEO and Executive Director, that's the group that runs the College Baseball Hall of Fame, and Alex Gordon, member of the College Baseball Hall of Fame and Royals Hall of Fame outfielder, were with us here this last segment, and we went a little bit long, and so Matt rolled up and was ready to walk in. He's like, wait over here.
Yep.
So we appreciate your patience, Matt.
I do some.
You're a good man.
I do some of my best work hiding.
Okay.
So always, if I can hide from famous people, that's what I'm going to do because I don't want to embarrass myself.
Well, it was.
I've embarrassed myself in front of plenty of famous people.
If Alex Gordon walked in, someplace in L.A. or Florida, you think they'd? I mean, how many people do you think would? I mean, here in town, everyone knows what he looks like, right? And I think in baseball towns, if he roamed around spring training, Arizona, Florida, they're going to know. But if he just rolls into, stop by to get gas on I-40 in New Mexico, and heads out to, grab I would say a Slurpee, but he's not going to consume a Slurpee.
A smoothie.
To grab an energy drink.
A smoothie.
That used to be a classic question about baseball with Mike Trout, actually. Could Mike Trout walk down the street and would everybody recognize him, or would he go unnoticed?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would if Mike Trout was here right now, I'm not sure I'd recognize him.
I don't know. Baseball. I mean, like the football guys with the helmets.
Yeah.
They're tougher to recognize.
Definitely.
But Gordon's look hasn't changed.
No, he looks the
From
same.
like early on, he didn't have the beard, but as he grew into the beard,
He
the
looks
look
just like he did when he rounded
he
the bases
really does look.
against
Yeah, and
Juris Familia.
noticing that
11 years ago.
when we happened to have tickets. It wasn't our plan, but we were fortunate we had tickets for his Hall of Fame induction. But the family and I were there, and it's like, don't look no different than
I know. Like
last time he was out there on that field.
Shagged some flies and left. Distinctive, but like Eric Hosmer had, that's a guy who's just look stands out. Maybe a little bit more. He always seemed to be a little bit more distinctive.
Taller, for one.
Just has a certain, Him and Salvi.
I don't know. Is Salvi really, or is...
Maybe we're just. I mean, I
Well,
think,
because
I think
I'll
he's
bring it
been
up.
around. Salvi's been around so long. Has been in so many All-Star games. And
Our buddy Renee was vacationing in Aruba. I think it was over the All-Star break, and Salvador Perez was there. Like he wasn't in the All-Star game. I think it was the All-Star game, or maybe it was during the World Series. Maybe it was right after the season. The Royals weren't in the postseason, and whenever it was, I know it was in the midst of baseball being played. So baseball would have been top of mind. And I know other than who's Aruba, the one guy from Aruba is like Sidney Ponson, right? Wasn't he from Aruba?
I think so.
But it's in the Caribbean, so baseball is known in that area, and what, just north of Venezuela? Anyway, I'm saying it's a baseball area. Okay,
Yes, he was Sidney Ponson was Aruban.
Okay, and so he said nobody was going up to Salvi, and so he went up to Salvi. It was like he was the only one. And when he walked away, the guy's like, some other tourist, like maybe a European guy was like, "Who's that?" That's Salvador Perez. It's a big deal. So I mean, that's Salvi.
Catchers never get love.
That's Salvi in the Caribbean, and at least Caribbean tourists, which could have been from anywhere, were not spotting Salvi.
Catchers never get love. Everybody overlooks the catcher.
Is that right?
As a former catcher, I can absolutely vouch for that. Nobody cares about the catcher.
Okay.
Nobody cares what we go through. Nobody recognizes this.
Aruba is just north of Venezuela.
Thank you. That's what I said, I think. Yeah. Very good. How about that? Geography
Science.
minor.
There you
Geography
go.
minor.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow. You know, I covered the Geography B one year at KOMU in Channel 8 in Columbia.
I may have helped a student study for the Geography B.
There you go.
You know, got to the state finals, but did not make the nationals. Tremendous letdown. Did not let her eat for 2 days. Like, that's it. That's your punishment. No, she did great. We were very, very excited. I did spend quite a bit of time. One of the things we thought might be there, she decided might be there, is capitals of the world. So she memorized all 206 capitals of the world's countries.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Didn't come up though.
Didn't come up. Darn it. I tell you what, I mean, I participated in a lot of B's and bowls. So your literature bowls, your economics bowls, all of these. Never competed in a geography bee or bowl. So
maybe we should
I don't think I'd have been good at that.
Maybe we should change the last line of your open from Matt to like nerd. You know, something like that.
Yeah, I'm definitely a big nerd.
Definitely on the nerd side.
Yeah.
Well, Matt Derrick is here. We're glad his nerddom has made his way into the studio. Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
If I didn't,
What do you think?
At what point did you think that was really a possibility? The return of Eric Bieniemy.
I mean, always a possibility, but I did not think it was a realistic possibility. I mean, I would have put it, as of Sunday night, I would have said less than 10%. I mean, it certainly seemed like there was a lot of motivation and interest in Mike Kafka, and even then it seemed like there was some genuine interest in maybe going outside the organization. You know, Patrick Mahomes, I think we may have talked about this last week when on his Zoom, talking about wanting new ideas. I don't know about new ideas coming from Eric Bieniemy. It's going to be old ideas, but maybe everything old is new again. If this is the case, and I have no reason to believe it's not the case, until the Chiefs come out and say it, I mean, it certainly seems that direction that they're going, although this has been messier than I think that the Chiefs wanted, and certainly what I expected.
Okay, explain. Why? How is it messy?
I don't think, I mean, they wanted to have two offensive coordinators at the same time. I think they were absolutely wanting Matt Nagy to get a head coaching job and be kind of out of the way before anything developed with an new offensive coordinator. I don't think that they wanted the news out there and leaked before Nagy had another job, or at least was looking close to another job. This coming out, and then later in the day, Nagy not getting the Tennessee job, I don't think is in any way that the Chiefs wanted this out there. So I don't think the leak came from them. I think they would have much rather have had Nagy out of the way, not only just from a procedural standpoint, but just from a respect standpoint. I don't think they wanted his replacement to be here while he's still on the website.
What does it say when their last two? We'll hold off. We'll set aside Eric Bieniemy being back part. What does it say when the last two offensive coordinators, their contract has expired and they've just let them walk?
Yeah.
Because that's really what happened with Eric Bieniemy. Now, that happened under the pretenses, veil, cover of, whatever would be the most accurate to describe it, that he was headed off to get a head coaching job. He hadn't been able to get it, so he needed to get somewhere where he could call plays to get a head coaching job. Is it just the same with Matt Nagy? I've heard that phrase that, he needs to go call plays. Well, he did. For what, 4 years, 3 years in Chicago? Mm-hmm. I think 4 years, 2 of which were playoff years. And, so he's done that. It wouldn't seem like that's a box that he needs to check as much. So what do we have here? Do we have, how are these situations similar or different in your mind? The departure of Bieniemy and the departure of Nagy?
I mean, I don't know that Matt Nagy really has to check the box of calling plays. To your point, I mean, I think he checked that box in Chicago, and once again, we talk about the fact that his tenure in Chicago should have aged pretty well, considering how many games he won with the quarterbacks that he had. Because Mike Tomlin had a couple of those quarterbacks and couldn't win games with them, and Matt Nagy did. So I think that's still a check in his favor. In this case, honestly, I mean, to me, it's what kind of a coach are you looking for? If you hire Robert Saleh and you're sold on that as being your approach, because these are two different coaches. I mean, Saleh, for his always credit, maybe he's a CEO type. I think Nagy can be a CEO type. Honestly, I think that both those guys are probably guys that you're coming in to rebuild a culture. I mean, obviously, if you're hiring Matt Nagy, I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to recreate the Andy Reid culture. Saleh is a different culture that he's going to be building, and I know he's considered more the rah-rah guy. Nagy is maybe more the quiet, culture CEO type leader, and maybe he needs to. I think at this point, the knock on him is that he's been getting all the blame for everything that happens in Kansas City. So I think he just needs to go. I mean, he may need to just go out and prove that he's not Andy Reid. If he can go run an offense that's more successful than what they've had the last 3 years, he's probably going to have a better reputation because people are going to say, oh, wait a minute, you know what? This wasn't Matt Nagy's fault. He just, most of the time, you get the stink of Andy Reid on you, it's a good thing. In this case, just because of what happened the last few years, I think the stink of Andy Reid's been a bad thing for him.
Interesting. Let's come back to the comments of Patrick Mahomes, accountability and new ideas. Right? Let's start with the new idea since you already mentioned that. Is 1 year with Ben Johnson enough for Eric Bieniemy to have a bag of new ideas to sprinkle out there, quote unquote, every day?
I'm not sure I can buy that, but because I mean, obviously the last time we saw him running an NFL offense, like in Washington, it looked pretty much just like a Eric Bieniemy offense. So I can't imagine this 1 year. But what are you bringing in an Eric Bieniemy to do? I mean, I think you're bringing him in because you need to fix your run game. Well, he's one of, if not the best, running backs coach, run game coaches in the NFL. So that ticks that box. And I think you're wanting him somebody who's going to come in and enthuse and inject some energy and some nastiness into an offense, which I think this team also lacks. So I don't know that you're bringing him in as much for X's and O's as much as you are in for an edge. Accountability. That's what you're looking for there.
Mahomes mentioned that twice in his answer last.
He mentioned accountability, and he also, I mean, cliche, but I'll check this box for Eric Bieniemy too. Loves football. I mean, a lot of guys love football. Eric Bieniemy, I think, it's his family, his kids, football in that order. And I'm not sure there's anything else in his life that matters.
The other thing you mentioned made me think of this because you mentioned a good running backs coach run game. To me, the ultimate guy that I wanted was someone like Mike McDaniel. But he's someone, whoever you thought you would like the most as the offensive coordinator, probably wasn't going to come here and just be the other guy in Andy Reid's offense. So I don't know that you could have to get what they wanted, what was available. This might be the best situation they could possibly get. Because anybody else you'd want to name, Mike McDaniel's not going to come here and just do what Eric Bieniemy's going to do. He wants to go somewhere where he can actually have some pull and actually do some things and maybe work his way back around to another head coaching job.
My nerd analogy for it is, hey, if Andy Reid's Batman, Superman, Aquaman, they're not coming in here to be Andy Reid's offensive coordinator. Robin will come in and be his offensive coordinator. Is Eric Bieniemy a good Robin? So in the past, he has been. So that could. And here's, I will say to me, if you're a Chiefs fan who believes that this team needs wholesale change, that's the one thing where I think that this move is certainly going to probably disappoint you for a little bit. And I know there's a lot of Chiefs fans who are actually pretty excited about this because they do long for the days of when Eric Bieniemy was here, and they're nostalgic for that and everything, which is odd because I go back and look at it and I'm like, you know what? I mean, Eric Bieniemy's last year, this was the #1 offense in the league. Yet, how many complaints were there about Eric Bieniemy? And it's Eric Bieniemy's fault that they lost the AFC Championship to the Bengals.
Yeah. The same people who all during Matt Nagy's tenure were like, we need to bring back EB, were a lot of the same people who were going, EB's got to go. And if they had any issues on offense.
Well, I think we had as many calls saying why an EB here as we had saying EB's the problem. Yeah. I don't know if they were the same people.
That's possible.
I mean, they may have been. There probably are some that just complain to complain, but hopefully most of your friends will hold you accountable. Wait a minute, aren't you the guy saying the enemy was the problem?
Right.
I'm noticing a theme here. It's always the OC. I do want to dig deeper, though, on some of the things that did happen when Eric Bieniemy was here that seemed to be an issue then, but now apparently are not going to be an issue. We'll do that with Matt Derrick. He's with us here in the program, joins us each and every week. He's brought to you by our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lots.
The program with Soren Petro.
What do you think?
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, listen up. Maybe you got a sports fan on your holiday list. Maybe your Valentine is a sports fan. Listen, nobody frames sports memorabilia like Art and Frame Warehouse. FrameKC.com is where you can find them online. See them in person at 92nd and Metcalf. They're the largest custom framing shop here in Kansas City. They have the best selection and most unbeatable prices. Look, they don't have the biggest store. Oh, they buy in bulk like those big box stores. That helps them keep the prices down. That's what allows you to get gallery quality at warehouse prices. They can buy in bulk just like everybody else. What they are is experts in framing of all types, especially the sports memorabilia. If you're like me and you love your sports memorabilia, I won't trust my framing to anybody but Art and Frame. They literally have framed every piece of sports memorabilia that I have. They're the go-to shop for framing anything. Jerseys, shadow boxes, oversized frames. You got a bat, you got a ball, you got boxing trunks, Olympic medals, Olympic torches. They've framed them all. And again, gallery quality at warehouse prices. Plus, everything comes with a lifetime guarantee. They'll even deliver and install it. I highly recommend this service. Michael and his staff are experts at installation as well. Plus that guarantee, they've only had to honor it once. You know that? More than 20 years in business, locally owned and operated, only one time have they had to honor that lifetime guarantee. I love it. It's great to know it's there. I got dozens and dozens of pieces framed at Art and Frame Warehouse. Never had a problem of any kind. I've had them hang them all. They are Kansas City's best. And it's not just your sports memorabilia. You got family photos, whatever it might be. Maybe you want to give a great family photo, a beautifully framed family photo for Valentine's Day. Well, get to Art and Frame Warehouse. It's the only place we buy any framing. Also got some wonderful artwork there. They have some beautiful mirrors, all kinds of great stuff. Go see them today. 92nd and Metcalf. Find them online at framekc.com. Mention A10. You can even save a couple of bucks in the store as well. So tell them you heard it right here on the program. Tell them 810 sent you. Find them online at framekc.com. See them in person at 92nd and Metcalf. Framing done right. It's at Art and Frame Warehouse.
Fellas, the new year is here, and improving your health is probably high on your list. But when you are tired all the time, not sleeping well, struggling in the gym, or dealing with brain fog, staying motivated can feel impossible. Those symptoms may not just be aging. They could be signs of low testosterone. Low T affects more men than you think. Starting in your 30s, testosterone levels decline every year, and it happens so gradually that you may not realize why you don't feel like the same man you once were. Heartland Men's Health specializes in diagnosing and treating low T and has helped many men reclaim their energy, focus, strength, and sex drive. Within weeks,
All right, the LaFetta Delicatessen end of the hour answer.
You been to LaFetta yet?
I have not.
Get off your ass.
Dude,
go there.
you gotta go
immediately.
Okay.
Really good. Really
straight?
good. Yep, they do a great job.
How many quarterbacks have won the Heisman, led their team to a national championship, and been the number one pick in the NFL draft?
Joe Burrow?
Yes.
Did Vince Young do it?
Nope. He was number 3.
Yeah.
There you go.
Went 3 in the draft. Did not win the Heisman either. So, Reggie Bush won it.
That's right.
Oh, there you go. See? Terrible.
Heisman and national champion. I mean, Heisman and national champion would be Danny Werfel. He was the first one to do it for a while. It'd be Charlie Ward.
Mm-hmm.
But neither one of them were 1-1s. Ward didn't even go in the draft, and Werfel was like a third-round pick. I was thinking there was one other, but it was recent. I know it had. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just
there are
Cam
3.
Newton.
There are 3. Cam Newton.
Okay, there's 2.
Nice.
Newton in 10 and 11. Burrow
Heisman.
in 19
won
and
one.
20.
Peyton Manning didn't win the Heisman.
This guy was in between Newton and Burrow.
And Peyton Manning didn't win the national
No,
championship.
and he wasn't number 1 the year immediately
Between
following
Burrow
it.
and Newton?
Yes, and he wasn't number 1 the year immediately following it like Burrow and Newton were. He
But it
came
has
back
to be
the
a
next
quarterback,
year.
right?
Yes.
Oh, I know.
it's
Yeah. Crab leg thief.
Jameis
Winston.
Jameis Winston.
Thank you.
Newton, Winston, and Burrow, and then obviously Fernando Mendoza is going to join that list. Bryce Young was on a national championship and won the Heisman and was the number 1 overall pick. He was a backup to Mac Jones. Bryce Young. He was a backup to Mac Jones when they won the championship. So he doesn't count because he wasn't
Thinking
the
of
starter.
Bryce Harper. Why am I drawing a blank on Bryce Young?
Carolina Panthers.
Quarterback.
Oh, yeah, with Alabama, yeah.
Yeah, he won a national title, but he was the backup. And the next year he was when he won the Heisman. They lost. They got blown out by Clemson or Georgia in the title game.
Was Jameis Winston a broadcaster, a preacher, a coach? What's the next step for Jameis Winston?
I mean, I would love to see him as the backup in Kansas City. Till Mahomes is ready, just because it would be entertaining. I'm not concerned about the football as much as I am just the interviews and the availabilities.
Okay. Yeah,
make Wednesday fun.
Exactly. Give us some entertainment.
He
people.
does strike me too as the type that he'd be hanging out by his locker, like literally no one else is in the locker room because they all avoid the locker room when it's open locker room. He would be like, set up a shop. Put him. He even set up a temporary stage to be elevated. Come on over, guys.
Yep.
Ready to chat. What do you want to talk about?
Next year, I hope to see him in Vegas because him and Mendoza in the same quarterback room would be an electric room.
That would be funny.
Dueling Lord and Saviors? Is that what you're talking about, or
something like that?
Okay. Could be. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that for sure. Matt Derrick is with us. We just gave away LaFetta Italian Delicatessen, voted KC's number 2 new restaurant by the Kansas City Star. There at the southeast corner of 143rd and Metcalf. Check out their rockin' lineup of subs. You can find them online at lafettadeli.com. Every sandwich comes on bread made fresh that morning, combined with the freshest meats, cheeses, ingredients, and sauces. Made to order. It is a true delicatessen, a true Italian delicatessen. Don't miss their incredible charcuterie trays as well. Don't forget they cater as well. You can go online to lafettadeli.com, or better yet, see them in person at 143rd and Metcalf. Matt, so we were talking about some of the past, like Eric Bieniemy and the Bengals conference championship game. Supposedly there was an uprising at halftime. Eric Bieniemy went, nose to nose with Patrick Mahomes, walking off the field at halftime of a game. Eric Bieniemy got into it with Travis Kelce.
More than once.
On the sideline. Always to be met with, no, I love the guy, we're competitors, that's how it gets and everything. But then that all added up, like we said, to a guy who didn't get fired but wasn't brought back and didn't get a head coaching job. It was pretty easy to come to a conclusion, whether it was right or wrong, that the organization had decided they needed a change. Why is all that suddenly fixed now? I mean, part of it might be Travis Kelce's not going to be back, but Patrick Mahomes is. And there was more than a couple of rumblings that that was not the smoothest of relationships between those two. Presumably, they would never hire somebody that Patrick Mahomes said, Presumably. What do you make of the past, maybe the finish of Eric Bieniemy, and how that's going to affect the start and ultimately the tenure of Eric Bieniemy the second time around.
I mean, the reporter in me will always eventually side with the, do you have somebody who's willing to put their name to these things? So if you want to tell me that all of these things were just pure speculation about the problems and the relationships inside Arrowhead with Bieniemy and Mahomes and Kelsey and anybody else that there might have been some issues with, I mean, I can go with that because nobody was ever really willing to attach their names to these things. And maybe, I'm not saying necessarily they were invented out of thin air because there was evidence that there was friction. And it does, like I said, it does, raise some questions with me that we just had Patrick Mahomes say that essentially the three things that he wanted out of a new offensive coordinator was loves football, accountability, and new ideas. And like I said, checks two of those boxes. I'm just not sure that EB checks the third box in any way for new ideas. And, I mean, I'm with you. I don't see how you would possibly hire an offensive coordinator that your quarterback doesn't sign off on. And maybe the other two items were enough for him to put aside anything else. And once again, those two sides both said all the right things when they were here. Patrick, whenever he was talked about and asked about issues with him and EB, always said, no, we get along great. We're both competitive. And maybe that's all there is to it. And honestly, I mean, this comes back to a little bit of, I always call it, to me in my mind, it's a Terry Shumpert syndrome. Because I remember, I'm old enough to remember Terry Shumpert with the Royals.
Yeah.
And absolutely.
Who do you think you're talking to in this room?
Absolutely torched his way out of Kansas City because he hated Hal McRae. And yet, his best years were all under Hal McRae. Because apparently he needed Hal McRae to push his buttons. If Patrick Mahomes had his best years when EB was here. So if he needs somebody to push his buttons, all for it.
Yeah. It's if there were problems at the end, the shelf life will not be as long this time around.
No, I would agree.
And if there were problems at the end, they better take off well.
Yeah.
If it's a bumpy takeoff, this could be a problem. And I'm with you. I'm kind of the same way. I'm not sure that 1 year with Ben Johnson brings in all these new ideas. I'm also of the opinion when you hire Eric Bieniemy, like to your point, you're hiring a Robin. So Andy Reid doesn't think, to use your analogy again, Aquaman or the Flash or Superman needs to be brought in. He'll handle that. And that's troubling to me because I think new, fresh ideas are always, and a new set of eyes are always a good thing. And I think you will get some Ben Johnson out of Eric Bieniemy. I mean, he got to see how Ben Johnson does things. So I think that will be a positive. But listen, I got to be honest with you. If it doesn't work, if the offense doesn't pick up, I don't think there's a reason to try again. Right? I think this has shortened the number of lives that Andy Reid calling all the shots. I don't want to say that Andy Reid has, but Andy Reid calling all the shots has. If this doesn't work, it won't be like, well, yeah, he got sideways with Patrick. I'm gonna go get Mike Kafka, who took the Eagles gig, and Sirianni got fired, and he's out there, and he didn't get a head coaching job. So now I'm going to bring in Mike Kafka. I don't think that's an option. I think if that's the answer you get, and you're Clark Hunt after a 7-10 season, I think it's time to make a change. Andy, I think when you go down this road, you're staying on the road you were already on, and just saying that it was injuries, penalties, personnel, accountability, all things that were not scheme. And I think at what would then be 68 going on 69, there's no precedent of being able to pull out of the nosedive at that point.
No.
Correct. Yeah. And
so from that standpoint, I don't know that it's been thought out that way by Andy Reid or Brett Veach or anyone else who's signing off on this decision, but I think it's reality. And they may not even feel that way in St. Joe, but they will feel it the moment it starts going south. And ownership will feel it. And it will begin to rise. It'll get to Andy Reid. This year it was Matt Nagy. it'll be on Andy Reid's desk. And I might be wrong. I might be a year premature on that because the next year it'll be on Clark Hunt's desk. And that's when, absolutely. But I don't know that it didn't start to get to Andy Reid's desk. And I think because people have already had their complaints when Bieniemy was struggling, that those that complained about Bieniemy in the past, because I somewhat disagree with Kurtis' premise that the same people that were complaining about Bieniemy are now the ones that are wanting him back. I think there was a group that was complaining about Bieniemy and were happy for the change. I think there's a group that were liked his toughness and didn't like the change and never really got on board with Matt Nagy. All those that didn't want Eric Bieniemy will take about 5 minutes to renew their frustrations. That's the other thing is there's no grace period for Eric Bieniemy. He is a known commodity. So if it doesn't work well, you're going to have a hard time standing at a podium being like, well, Eric's still getting settled in. Well, look, it's a new system. It takes time. Those can't be coming out of the mouths of anybody up there. And so I do really think that, and I say all this, one, to lay the groundwork, because if they do go 15-2, people better recognize this was not the layup, that it'll be the way it'll be, laid out there by a lot of people is, oh, this was a gimme. Well, this is a no-brainer. Well, of course it's well. Well, they got back to the guy who had the success. Well, this is who they won the Super Bowl. It's not that easy because there were trials and tribulations at the end. There were people who wanted him out. And now they've come back and they're going back down this road. So I do think this is a bigger deal than certainly nationally it's being made. But I think even locally, I think it's a bigger deal than people are recognizing. And maybe even the people over at One Arrowhead Drive.
And there's some big picture, long-term stuff that makes me think about and realize, because, some of this, short-term I could absolutely see is say, hey, wait a minute, look at the lesson of Belichick and Brady. I mean, those two never had a losing season. They didn't have a 6-11 season. They never had that. And even when, they lost Tom Brady in week 1, they still went 11-5. Missed the playoffs, but it went 11-5. And so certainly having 2 back-to-back years, even if Mahomes is not healthy all of next year, even if he's back by week 1, I mean, and especially if he's back by week 1, they should certainly have a winning record. I'll take it, except the fact that Mahomes may not be 100% next year. But even that, you should have a winning record, and you should probably be in the playoffs next year. I'm not saying you have to win the Super Bowl, but you should absolutely, I think, be a playoff team next year. If you're not, that's a concern. And that's part of a continuation. The thing with EB, and I look back on it now, is from the long-term thought process, is that there were people complaining about EB, and that was the number 1 offense in the league his last year in Kansas City. And I think his worst performance was was it 6th one year, 4th or 6th one year? I mean, and the last year being number 1, people were complaining about the number 1 offense in the league and saying that it was showing signs. And hey, if you said that it was showing signs of erosion, you were right. Because going forward, the next few years, it did erode.
It was a situation where if they were going well, it was Andy Reid was calling the plays. The minute the offense began to struggle, those must be the Eric Bieniemy plays.
Well, and I think the reality is it's Andy Reid's success and his failure.
Yeah.
And I don't really care what role Eric Bieniemy and Matt Nagy play because these are his hand-picked guys.
Yeah.
And so it's his failure. It's his success. If it works, it's Andy Reid. If it fails, it's Andy Reid. If he gives him play-calling duties and it fails, it's Andy Reid. If he doesn't give it to him and it fails, it's Andy Reid. There's no scenario that it does not come back to Andy Reid.
Yeah, you don't get all that power and none of the responsibility.
And Eric Bieniemy has called plays in Washington, has called plays for UCLA. So he's had 2 years of play calling under his belt. So if you wanted to hand that over to him, you could.
And you hope that maybe he picked up something in his 1 year with one of the more imaginative offensive minds in football. I don't know how much you can get from that, but
that my hope was that Dick, I go back to what Dick Vermeil said, that when he came back to the Rams, he quickly realized he couldn't do, like in Philadelphia, he goes, I was my own offensive coordinator, my own quarterback coach, and my own special teams coach. And the one thing I realized real quick is I can't do all that. I have to give it out to people. I said, oh, yeah, so like when Mike Martz came around, he goes, oh, Mike was great. He said, now, I'd have to be up there like, hey, Mike, we got 28 in the backfield. Let's hand it to him. He goes, Mike always wanted to, well, we got all these crazy pass plays. He's like, let's just go ahead and give it to 28 now, right? And you oversee it. I mean, he was able to delegate. And I think embraced the delegation. Embraced Al Saunders being his offensive coordinator. Embraced that he was having another great offense with a different offensive coordinator that he was standing watch on and he was guiding. And I'll be blunt. I mean, my prediction, this is a mistake. I mean, I think if I'd have heard Andy Reid say, look, I'm getting up there, I need a guy to call plays, and Eric Bieniemy's the guy. Whenever that comes, if I hear that, I'll feel better. I really will. Especially if he'd gone and gotten somebody out of house, I'd feel even better. But I'm concerned this is same old, and he's 68 years old. And I think you have to shift gears at some point.
I mean, the Chiefs, clearly they're making some moves. And, and we have the other report about Chad O'Shea coming in as wide receivers coach.
Well, hold that thought. Let's take a break. Let's pick up there. Cool. That's a great transition. Matt Derrick's with us. He's brought to you by our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. We made him too good. We need kryptonite. I'm telling you the problems with Superman. It is the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Matt Derrick, comic book expert, staying in the DC genre. We got a kudos for our comic book, your comic book analogies being within the realm of just one. But enough about that. Chad O'Shea.
Yeah.
Was the wide receiver coach and passing game coordinator for the Browns. What's his job here?
I mean, it seems like it's going to be wide receivers coach. And
Is it going to be passing game coordinator?
Well, if Joe Blameyer stays, I'm assuming not, because that's what his title. But we'll see. But I mean, having somebody, this wasn't the name that I was expecting, but because I thought, hey, if you're going to bring a receivers coach in here, it needs to be somebody who's got some gravitas and some experience that can maybe knock around some heads and everything. This is, even though he didn't play in the NFL and wasn't a wide receiver growing up, he was a quarterback in college. Fact that he was in New England for 10 years as wide receivers coach, he's got 3 freaking rings. So, I mean, if you think you know something, Rashee Rice, because you got 2 rings and one of them you didn't play, no, let me tap my rings on the table and remind you I know more about this than you do. Yeah, I think they need that in the receiver room.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot. It will be interesting how, when they get all the coaches out there, how the duties are going to be lined up. Always interesting talking to you, Matt. We appreciate it. We'll do it again next week.
All right, over the last 50 years, 5 non-quarterbacks won the Heisman Trophy, the national championship, in the same year. Name any one of them. Brought to you by La Feta Delicatessen.
He's just what you'd expect for a man who covers sports. 6'4", 250 pounds. Wiry? But he does know Kansas City sports as well as anyone. He's Kansas City Star columnist Sam McDowell on the program.
Second half of the program begins right now. Sam McDowell joins us here. Sam, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Are you doing good?
I am.
Everything cheery in your world?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, then. I like it. Let me ask you a question. I'm of the opinion. Have we gotten word? I'm sorry. We had guests in studio and been looking at things. Have we gotten word if Bill Self's going to coach in Colorado tonight?
It will be Jacques Vaughn.
Yeah. It will be Jacques Vaughn. Okay, so I assumed as much. I'm just curious. I'll throw out my thoughts, and you tell me if you would concur. You cannot be exercising an abundance of caution if he didn't make his way to Colorado. This is more than just, oh no, he was under the weather. He's had a couple of procedures, and now he didn't feel good and went to the hospital and did not travel with the team, and he's not gonna travel with the team. We're no doctors, but am I wrong in how I'm looking at that? I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to diagnose what's going on, but I know the medical profession. There's HIPAA. No, you can't say anything. And I know factually of cases where, oh no, so and so just needs some rest or whatever. It's always whatever somebody wants put out there is what's put out there. I'm concerned about where this is going because this is an about face from where I had been thinking. Bill Self looked like he was in great shape. He had lost more weight. All the reports were that he told people he felt great, and then this happened. This to me is very scary, for Bill Self.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a scary thing too, just given the history. But I don't know what happened yesterday, and therefore it's hard to say how serious it is, and therefore hard to judge how serious they should take it and what the next steps should be. But the history is the history, so I mean, how can you not lump this in with what he's been through over the past couple of years?
A lot of people thought Jacques Vaughn was being brought in to be the coach in waiting. Kansas was adamant that was not the case. I think he would certainly be a worthy candidate if Bill Self would decide to step away from the team. But this is a chance to see Jacques Vaughn at least handle the sidelines, and I think it's of note that Jacques Vaughn's the guy they've chosen to do it.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that, obviously, with Norm Roberts not there as far as who would do it, and, would be curious how easy of a decision it was. Obviously, it's Jacques Vaughn's first year on the staff. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of college coaching experience, but he certainly has plenty of experience leading a staff and in-game stuff and timeouts and substitution patterns. I mean, he certainly has plenty of experience doing that already.
I believe it's Jeremy Case who carries the title of associate head coach, right?
I don't know all their titles.
Yeah. I think I was looking at the coaching, the KU coaches. I'll bring it up again.
Yeah, associate head coach back in October. That's when he was appointed.
And yet it'll be Jacques Vaughn. I just think it's of note. I'm not saying it means anything. I'm not saying one's would be next in line if Bill Self would step away over the other. But I think it's of note.
Yeah, I mean, look, I first of all, and I know you know this, but I mean, we're so many steps away from deciding who would lead a program if Bill Self stepped away. But if it does get to that step, I mean, no doubt, KU should explore the country to see what's available.
Agreed. We are, but do you really think that Travis Goff hasn't had these thoughts? I mean, that's his job, is to be ready for. The old adage, I remember Carl Peterson, I always got a list of 5 names in the top right-hand drawer because you never know what might happen. You've got a feeling for what might happen. I would think that they're, when you hire Jacques Vaughn, I think he's a tremendous hire as an assistant coach with all the experience you talked about. He's also been, now you've got to be a scout as much as anything with the transfer portal and everything that's going on there. He's been in the personnel department of the San Antonio Spurs. I think he's as probably has as impressive a resume as you could put on a college basketball coaching staff. So I think it's a great hire, whether there's any idea that he could ever be a head coach ever, period. But I do think if you're Travis Goff, if your head hasn't been on a swivel for 2 years, you're not doing your job.
Yeah, but I just think it's different in season versus off season. Like, is this, if that happens, and again, just to preface it by we're steps away from that, but I still think that it's different if that happens in season and you just got to get through a year versus if Bill Self at some point it's happening that he'll step down and retire, whether or not that's the off season, whether or not that's 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it might be. At some point that's going to happen, and those to me require different game plans of how you adjust to it, because what they're doing tonight is looking at the best man on staff to lead the job, and what you look at in the off season is the best man in the country to lead the job.
Where do you think the team is right now as far as the way it's playing over the last,
I think they look great. I mean, I think they look like Final Four good over the past couple of games, and to me, there's a couple things going on. I think one, Darren Peterson has fit better into what they're doing defensively, and the other thing is the rest of the group has played much better around him offensively. And I think a lot of that is like he doesn't bring the ball up every single possession. I thought it was previously like Darren Peterson brings the ball up, go make something happen. Similar to watching like the James Harden Rockets back in the day, to where it was just a lot of time dribbling. And now, I mean, you see him just stand in the corner for possessions, like, and it's, by the way, another team doesn't want to leave open in the corner, so it takes the defender out too, and just kind of try and find his way open off the ball. So I think he's playing better with off the ball, but they're playing better when he does have the ball too.
By the way, are you a fan of the Friday night game?
Yeah, I love the Friday night game, actually. Yeah.
I did too. I didn't know if I was going to like it, but I mean, I liked it when they did football, and now that they're just going to roll right into it. I guess Fox does not make regular shows anymore. They just run news and sports.
Yeah.
Near as I can tell.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't watch network TV. Do they have network shows on Fox anymore?
I don't even have. I only have apps. I don't even have like a cable provider or anything, so I don't have any way to even know that answer.
But it was nice. I liked it. Went to a high school basketball game, and then was watching it on my phone and finished up watching it while we went to dinner and everything. And so, yeah, I did enjoy having it on. And I do think that they are finding themselves. And I think you make a great point, because we've seen enough that they can play without him. And I wonder, was it Bill Self seemed to make it sound like it was the other players being more aggressive. But I don't know. I mean, if Darren Peterson calls for the ball, they're giving him the ball. So I don't know that it wasn't more Darren Peterson saying, all right, you guys can do it, so here we go.
That could be. That's a good point. I mean, I hadn't really thought of it from that perspective, as far as, if he's not bringing the ball up the court, if he doesn't, after somebody gets a rebound, go and demand the ball, that, the rest of the team, that sort of instills that in you. Okay, we got to go make something happen here. But I mean, a lot of it is like Melvin Counsell is so by far better suited for point guard than he is off guard. And so when Darren Peterson's not the guy with the ball at the top of the key, I mean, Counsell's a handful to get to the bucket. Like, he can get to the bucket, and like when they're in that role, and then Peterson's either got one-on-one to which he can drive. We've seen him drive a little bit more, which I don't think it's ever a bad play whenever Darren Peterson's trying to get to the bucket. But obviously he's a great shot too. I'm interested to see. We're 1 year away from this, but months away from this, I guess I would say. But his NBA development too, just because he's so good in the mid range, but not a lot of teams are prioritized for the right reasons. I mean, the analytics has shown like mid range shots are not a great shot, but like he's lethal. Like DeMar DeRozan is like a top 15 all time scorer in the NBA now. Doesn't really shoot threes. Doesn't get to the bucket a ton. He's just like been lethal, and like you've got to be exceptional at that quality to make that shot worth it. But I think he might be exceptional at that quality.
You made the comment, I think it was during the Iowa State game, that it's amazing how good your offense can look when you're getting stops on defense.
Yeah.
That happened again on Friday night. How much of that is into the better offense, and how much more difficult is that to do outside of Allen Fieldhouse? We won't get much of a proving ground this week because Colorado and K-State aren't Arizona and BYU, but
I think you'll get some of it at K-State because of the environment, but because, I mean, no matter whether K-State's winless in the conference, I still think that's going to be just a different environment. But, yeah, I mean, it's when you can get into your offense without having to set it up and 5 guys be ready to play defense, it looks a lot different. Like, they have athleticism, which they haven't had in the past. I mean, Melvin Council is great at the lob. Like, he's terrific.
Tyshawn Taylor, like, with the,
he's terrific at placing the lob, and it sort of reminded you that they haven't had that recently. Like, I wouldn't call that a strength of Dwan Harris, even though he could be a good passer. I don't think he was great at the lob. But he also, who was he going to throw it to? Who was he going to lob it to?
Hunter Dickinson wasn't really the guy to get it. I mean, it's been a little bit.
Of athleticism.
Azubuike was pretty good. Yeah. I mean, he was pretty athletic for even as big as he was.
Yeah, that's been a minute.
But it's been a minute. I mean, you go back to,
That's 18.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who was.
He was in the COVID year, too, that it got shut down.
That's right.
Yeah.
But forget the kid's name, was the big who came to play in the tournament and the championship year.
David
McCormick. Even McCormick wasn't a high fly finisher. So it has 100%. Been a while since there was the guy, like a Flory Benunga on the back end that could grab it and send it home. I do agree. Do they have enough depth? Do you like this kind of 7-man rotation, or do you think
I just don't think that's a huge problem in college. And it would be great to have 9 dudes who you feel comfortable playing 15 minutes a night, but I think that's overstressed in college. Like, you need to have a couple guys off the bench. I think Cole Rosario's good enough to where if one of those guys gets in foul trouble, you got to go to 8. Like, you're going to be okay. I think that they do have enough depth.
Are you surprised Rosario's not part of it? Like, to me,
yes. I mean, I think in an honest moment, KU would tell you they're surprised too. I mean, they started him to open the season. I think they anticipated him being a bigger piece. But what I was going to say is, like, when I look at depth, I look at last year's team, for example, and I looked at the depth of just what was currently on the floor, of how many guys can score, how many guys can create their own shot and score. That to me is why I like their depth more, is because Petersons can create his own shot, Council can get to the bucket and create his own shot and score. Bedinga can make a little bit happen in the post and get to his own stuff. So to me, they have a better options just when they're on the floor. Even when your best 5 are on the floor, you don't have to just be looking to one guy and say, hey, please make something happen on this possession.
Only a 4.5-point favorite against Colorado.
I didn't know that. That does surprise me a little bit, yeah.
I would have thought that number was going to be bigger. I mean, I think Colorado has got a little bit of LSU in them.
When KU's played great, but they still won the road.
Is the coaching? So, I mean, how much of I didn't see what the number was before that came out, so I don't know how much that matters.
That is true. I mean, that may be part of it. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's baked into the number. And they think people are going to, maybe people started hitting Colorado because of the Bill Self situation. Like, all right, we got to keep this number down to even it out and get it to Kansas. That could be part of it, I suppose. But
yeah, I mean, there's, like I said, they haven't looked great, and there are 2 road games in the Big 12, and that was a thing last year. It was a thing the year before. That remain, and that goes into what Kurtis had asked me about playing home and the road. Like, one of the things that they've done the past couple of games that they haven't done for 2 years now is just create turnovers, just live ball turnovers that lead to easy buckets. Like, they've started doing that, and that to me is the biggest thing that needs to become a regular part of the game. I mean, I'm looking at Kim Palm right now. They're 329th. And turnover percentage for defense. They don't force turnovers. That makes offense harder too. I mean, it clearly makes defense harder, but it makes offense harder too.
They're 1-4 in true road games this year.
With that, NC State was an overtime game.
It's an overtime win,
twice at the buzzer, NC State missed a shot. I mean, KU deserved to win that game, but it was a game that could have been lost.
I'm sure that's a part of it. They got to go back-to-back on the road. What do you expect them to do? Colorado and K-State on the road next 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be disappointing, to be honest, if they didn't go 2-0, because they're better than both of these teams. I mean, they clearly have more talent than both of the teams, but, I mean, K-State's a place that they've struggled with recently. Obviously not historically, but recently going there. So these are 2 teams that it's just a classic kick them while they're down situation. That's actually the other thing that has impressed me about KU is Iowa State, they get out to a huge lead, and you and I were talking about it because we were it's amazing how many times when KU's played on Tuesdays this year. It seems like we're always podcasting these KU games. But Iowa State came back, and when we go on air, we're talking about, okay, they're going to blow this.
Yeah.
And then they came back. Like, they faced some adversity in game, and then they came back. They did that against Baylor too. They get out to a huge lead to open the game, and then Baylor comes back and takes the lead before halftime. And then KU got it together and bounced back. That's what they haven't done on the road. Like, when it's gone bad, when UCF went on a run, when West Virginia went like a 16-0 run, it was just over. They never bounced back and got it back together. So I wonder even if this is like you can translate that from gym to gym, even though you're playing on the road now.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. They need to get these two, like you said, kick them when they're down, because BYU and at Tech are on the other side, and all these teams, all the big boys are all crammed together against each other at the end. Yeah. I'm sure it was by design. I hope it was, because you've got it. I mean, and it's going to be, I guess it's like, hey, build the rankings up early, and then when we're trading it back and forth, we don't fall back as far, as opposed to getting knocked down early. Or was it just a coincidence? I don't know. But like, it is amazing how each one of the contenders you go look at, they're all roughing each other up at the end.
Well, I mean, the new grading scale in KenPom, for example, which takes A, B, or no grade at all. I mean, these are 2 B games. They would not be if they were in Lawrence, because there's obviously weighted to home versus the road. In fact, they play K-State later this year. It's no grade. But after these 2 games, 5 of their next 6 games are A-grade games. Like, it gets tougher after this week. And that's what I thought when KU opened 1-3, and, very fortunate to win the one that they won. I thought, man, it's going to get a lot tougher. Like, this was supposed to be the easy part of your schedule.
Yeah, now they sitting at 3-2. They can see a path to get a couple of wins, be 5-2. I mean,
yeah, you're back in the mix. You play all the good teams they play. You play Arizona twice and Iowa State twice this year, and obviously you play everyone at least once. Like, it's in your control where you finish in the Big 12.
If they get to 5-2, I'm trying to look here. Arizona's next 3: Cincinnati, West Virginia, at BYU. So they've got one difficult one. Houston's next 3: at Texas Tech, at TCU, Cincinnati. So, 5-2, feel pretty good. Maybe you're third place, with a 6-1 in front of you. Maybe Arizona's at 7-0. Maybe not. Maybe they're both 6-1. But I think you can feel like, hey, we're in a tie for third at that point, and in pretty good shape. If we can get there. Otherwise, especially because I think BYU's one of them, so they'd take a loss, that'd be their second. Yeah, you're in the mix to talk conference championship, which is what KU expects to be doing.
Yeah, and even more so to me, like, as if you win these next 2, you've had something that you haven't had all year, which is just momentum. Because you played great in Vegas. You still had this lingering question of Darren Peterson. He didn't play in those games. You lost against UConn in the second half and looked really bad in that second half, like inability to score, to where you would play pretty well, but then it's like, okay, when's Darren Peterson coming back? Because you need him, is what the second half of that UConn game proved. And so they just haven't been able to build momentum. Like, if Darren Peterson plays in these 2 games and you win them both for the first time all year, you feeling like you've got some momentum in your season.
Sam McDowell is with us, joins us each and every week here in the program, columnist for your Kansas City Star, brought to you by our friends at Big O Tires, the team you trust. Let them pick you up, drop you off. They're a free shuttle, a great way to get the service done in your car. Right now, save $80 to $120 instantly on select sets of tires from Nitto, Cooper, Nexon, and Sumitomo. Fresh tires, that's better traction, a smoother ride. Snow's in the forecast. You can have confidence whatever the road gives you with Big O Tires. Don't wait for worn-out tires to slow you down, or worse. Get to Big O Tires today. Book your appointment at any one of the 13 locally owned and operated Big O Tires at bigotires.com.
All right, the La Feta Delicatessen, end of the hour answer. Over the last 50 years, 5 non-quarterbacks have won the Heisman Trophy and the national championship in the same year. Name any one of them. Last 50 years.
Last 50 years, 5
non-quarterbacks have won the Heisman and the national championship in the same year.
Mark Ingram.
Yes.
Mark
2009.
Good.
He's in the middle.
Herschel did not win it the year he won the national title. He's in the middle, huh?
Ingram was in the middle of the...
Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry was second to most
I
recent.
didn't get the bell?
2015.
I wasn't ready with it.
He didn't have
What
it
in the
open.
world?
So there's one since Henry and 2 before.
That was yours.
There
Yeah.
One
Tape
since
delay.
Henry and 2 before Ingram.
Woodson.
Charles Woodson, 97. Got the middle 3. We have the most recent and the oldest in that 50-year span.
In a 50-year span, Archie Griffin.
Didn't win that.
Earl Campbell.
Nope.
Billy Sims.
Nope.
George Rogers didn't win it. We're missing the most recent.
Mm-hmm. Played against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Twice.
Okay, so he's a Niner or a Eagle. Devonta Smith.
Devonta Smith. Now the old one.
Now the old one.
Was on 2 Super Bowl teams. Went to back-to-back Super Bowls as soon as he got into the league.
Tony Dorsett?
Tony Dorsett. Smith, Henry, Ingram, Woodson, Dorsett.
Okay. All right. Couple of clues. Need a couple of clues there.
That's all good.
Need a couple of clues. Well, I would have swung and missed for a while on Mark Ingram. I'm glad you got that one first. That made me look good
He's
because
like
I'd
the
have been
least
like, who?
descriptive
Wait,
one.
what?
I was actually thinking there could have been 2 Alabama.
Yeah, the
running
last
Him
3
and
were-
Henry, there were
there
two.
Yeah.
The
that's
last
right,
3
And Devonta Smith, 3 Alabama guys, a Michigan and a Pitt.
in the last 50 years, it's happened 5 times. The last 3 have been Alabama.
Boy, you love the 70. You just got it in there. 50 years. Dorsett. 76 was his year, right?
I was like, I'm going to get
Just
one
got
more.
it.
50. Perfect.
You love you some Tony Dorsett.
I do love me some Tony Dorsett, even though I couldn't stand the Cowboys when he was there.
Yeah. Okay.
Someone said he ran so smooth that they said he could try this again.
No, well said. Well
He
put.
could run full speed with a bowl of soup balanced on top of his head. That's how smooth he
Pretty good.
was.
Him, smoothest runners. Him, Eric Dickerson,
Yeah.
Irving Fryer. I remember being really smooth. You're into the list.
That into the list.
As far as I can go.
He was pretty good.
You know, not smooth? Jerome Bettis.
No.
Not smooth.
I don't think Isaiah Pacheco could run with the bull. of soup on
Not
his
smooth. Isaiah Pacheco. Maybe that's the best one. That's better than Jerome Bettis. Bettis was way smoother than Pacheco. Bettis is like, you got to be kidding me. You just lumped me in with that ground-pounding guy?
I mean, last year there were times where he couldn't run with the helmet on top of his head without losing it.
True.
It's like 3 straight games.
I know. What is the problem here?
I want to ask you real quick. We'll get to the Chiefs here in a minute. Couple things. Let's talk money. $700 million.
Okay, I was wondering where that was going.
Well, I got another number. We'll start with $700 million.
I can't lend you anything. I thought that's where it was going.
No, $700 million. Peter Maluk paid to buy controlling interest in Sporting Kansas City, already in the ownership group.
Yeah, so he didn't pay that amount. That's what the value was for,
Okay, so explain that. I didn't.
Well, if he had bought 100% of the team, it was worth $700 million.
It was worth $700 million, but he bought controlling interest.
Yeah.
So somewhere in the neighborhood of.
Because percentages are valued at 700.
He's now over 50%.
Yeah, I mean he's
so
like
he
over
spent
3/4. Yeah.
Oh, he's over 3/4. So then, $400 million. I mean, that's amazing. That's Sporting Kansas City. I mean, because I believe, Google this real quick, Curtis. The Hunts sell Kansas
So you
City
can't
Wizards.
find that number. You cannot find that number.
The rumors are $20 million.
Yeah, so I'm told. I actually think it was less.
I've heard 10 and I've heard 20, but I thought
I know for sure it was more than 15, but I think it might have been between that 15 to 20. I honestly, I didn't put it in my story over the weekend because I don't know what that exact number is, but unbelievable investment, obviously. Which, look, I mean, I talked to Peter Maluk on Saturday on the phone, and I said, "What's your vision for this team?" And he says, "A big financial commitment."
Right.
So I think if you're a sporting fan, you should be pretty excited about this. But that's not because like the Illigs and the Patterson family. That's not because they've been bad owners. I mean, look at what they did. There's a soccer-specific stadium. This team has won 4 trophies in that tenure. They saved MLS from even like Kansas City was. There were players who told me on that team that they were talking about where they were going to move because they were all certain the team here was done. That's what this ownership group stepped in and did. They saved this team from continuing, allowed them to continue be in Kansas City, and then built it up to what it's been today. I mean, it's been an incredible run for this ownership group, and now that they've taken it this far, like I said, I think sporting fans should be pretty excited about this.
Yeah, I do too. And when you make that statement, and based upon the net worth of the individual making it, I think he's been in the ownership.
Yeah.
So he knows, he presumably has seen reports on this is what it is, this is what's going on. So he's familiar with how it works and some of the investments that are being made in talent, and he's making that statement.
Yeah, and it's putting yourself out there before this even really kicks into full gear, and just has no problem doing it. I actually asked him, I said, because I think Forbes says that I can't remember the exact number. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of half. It's just over half or just under half operated at a loss last year. And so I asked him about that. I said, investing this amount of money, and when that's true, and he said, I don't worry about that. That's investment. He actually had this long analogy that he said, if you decide you're going to get in the real estate market and you're going to be somebody who fixes up houses too, he goes, you've got to buy a house, you're immediately in debt on it, right? Because you haven't sold it yet. Then what happens is then you get in competition, and then you buy bigger places. You've got to buy them for more money, and you're constantly operating in the red in that sense. And then the whole rationale, though, is
the payday is when you sell.
Yes, that's investment, though. It's not that you're actually
he doesn't
losing
see
money.
it as debt. He sees it as investment.
Yes, and he sees this as investment. And I think the reason that sporting fans should be excited is he is a genuine fan of this too, born in Kansas City. Now his parents had immigrated from Egypt, but I put it in my story, but he told me he went to bed as a kid listening to the Royals games on the radio, and soccer was his first love. That was what his parents got him signed up for. So just obviously when he was a kid, sporting Kansas City wasn't the thing it is now. Right. So but yeah, I always think that's one of the main things for an owner is are you from the area? How much do you care about it? And
is the sport?
Yeah,
I
said, what's your priority? And let me see if I can get this quote. He said, I really would say 99.5% of the metric I'm going to care about is winning, and 0.5 will be everything else. I'd like to hear that from the owner.
I love hearing it. I love hearing it. I mean, it's as good as it gets.
Yeah, I would caution though, how much you can do now versus how much of this can happen immediately. He talked next season a lot, and when he says that, he means 2027. And he said, hey, I think what this year allows you to do is you made a lot of changes, then you assess what worked, what didn't work, and you spend, because we chatted about this a couple weeks ago. Sporting played a preseason game a couple days ago, and I think there's got 19 guys under contract or something like that. It's not many.
Yeah, no, it's frankly bizarre. So here's what I want to ask you: is he pulling the strings on these moves, or is he? Is this what are these moves? It is. How would you describe going to camp and not even having a full squad? I've tried to be open-minded and everything, but it is. I can't. If the Royals went to spring training and they had 8 pitchers,
yeah.
If they had one catcher, we'd lose our minds. I think they're hiding under the cover of the ignorance of their fan base, of soccer not being what most of us grew up with from the beginning and moving forward. This, I believe, is unprecedented. Or am I wrong? Is there?
I don't know if it's unprecedented. I agree with you that it strikes me as for the start of the season. How can you be fully prepared for the start of the season when you don't have a full roster? I don't disagree with the thought of not giving out multi-year contracts just to fill a roster.
I agree.
And I still wonder if it is a sign that you have multi-year contracts coming.
How many times are you going to hit that thing?
Because you have
first time sitting in that chair.
You have the opportunity to sign players for a year, right? Like to still give yourself that flexibility next off season. The fact that they're not doing that, I think, shows that they are probably optimistic. They want to fill those with guys who are going to be here multiple years, because you don't want to get into a bad multiple-year contract to fix this, to put a Band-Aid on it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, they literally have played a preseason match with a short roster.
Because I am all for, if you looked at it and said it's going to be a tough year no matter what we do, then make every decision for the future no matter how bad it makes this year. I think that is smart. That is a smart plan. I am curious, though, as to whether or not this is Maluk's plan or this is an Illig plan.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
is this a plan?
Well, I think
is
this.
Did this hasten? Hey, I don't like where this is going. Hasten him going, I want this now. Because I've heard rumblings of this. I'm sure you have as well.
Yeah.
For a number of months, right, that this was looming out there. I'd also heard that it wasn't going to happen until after the World Cup. Okay? So this is premature from what I was hearing. And and now maybe I just got bad information. But what I'm curious is, did he go, no, enough of this. I'm going now. Or like what? And again, I may have bad information, so don't tell me. I'm not asking you. I'm not stating that as a fact. I'm just stating what I heard. Or was this his plan, and now it's just a matter of look, this is the direction you wanted to go, so go ahead, take it and run.
Well, the first thing I would say to that is it takes a long time to have this happen. Like it can't really have this overnight nature to it. I think the fact that the Illigs are continuing to run this, at least in the immediate term, and I don't know how long. He had said something to me about the fact that I said, well, then what does change if the Illigs are still in charge? And Mike Illig has basically operated as the CEO, Cliff Illig's son, and what does change? And he basically said, well, I still want them operating the day-to-day. They're serving on the MLS board still. And it's just basically like I'm in more frequent phone calls now. Now, the nature of those phone calls is what hits at what you're asking. And he did strike me more as a hands-off, let people do their job owner than somebody who said, I want to sign this player and this player and this player. Like, never did our conversation delve into the specifics of the roster or anything of that sort.
Okay. I think it'll be interesting. But I do think it's an impressive statement about how far the team has come, how far the league has come, and that there is somebody that's there to step in and keep it local in Kansas City. And because I know there are a lot of towns that want it.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that want MLS teams still.
Yes. I mean, they're paying exorbitant expansion fees for it. And look, I didn't put this in the article because it sort of would create this, I think, illusion that the team now was getting ready to move. But I asked him about owning a sports team, and he said, one of the coolest things about owning a sports team is that a lot of times you always have these questions about whether or not your owners are going to spend, and then you have questions about whether or not the team's ever going to move or something. He said, I can say unequivocally, not bluffing, the team's never moving, and that we're going to invest in the team. And like I said, the only reason I put that in there in my article is because I thought, well, there's not really a question right now about whether Sporting's going to move. But, doesn't mean there couldn't be down the road or something of that sort. And I think it hits at what you said. The importance of just like local ownership, I think, is a really cool thing.
All right, $18 million. We'll talk about that number next with Sam McDowell, columnist for the Kansas City Star. He's brought to you by our friends at Big O Tires, the team you trust. You can book your appointment online right now at bigotires.com. Visit any of your locally owned and operated Big O Tires today. Kick off the year with fresh treads, or ask about the Healthy Car Special. $39.95 includes a conventional oil change, tire rotation, alignment check, brake check, and more for just $39.95. It's at Big O Tires, the team you trust. We roll on here in the program. Sam McDowell, columnist for the Kansas City Stars, with us, brought to you by our friends at Big O Tires. The team you trust. Find them online at bigotires.com. $18 million buyout for Jerome Tang.
I actually did not know what $18 million was.
You didn't? It's an $18 million buyout for Jerome Tang. That number would have been off the contract, off the extension he was given after the Elite Eight, been almost $13 million now. And I was talking about that, and I thought I had the latest contract. I didn't. There was the one that came then the year after he didn't make the tournament. Arkansas made a run at him. And now, at this point, there's still an $18 million buyout. And it's going horribly wrong.
How does that compare to other D1 Power 4 coaches?
That's a good question. It's one I should probably spend more time investigating. I don't have the answer for you. I think it's incredibly high on it. That was the thing I remember, and I don't remember if it was the first extension or the second extension. I think the second one, I remember talking about that, well, his salary isn't that high, but the buyout is such that he's not going anywhere. Like, basically what he got was long-term security. Not necessarily more money, just I'm going to get it all.
So what he meant was my contract is built for this.
Yes.
My clause is built for this.
His contract is built to survive multiple tough seasons in a row. My question, when you see how empty Bramlage is, if you're at K-State, folks, can you afford to not buy him out? You have to, the buyout works that it's 2 years to buy him out.
USA Today's got him ranked 12th in terms of buyout.
As far as most?
Yeah, 12th highest buyout.
Like right now this year, and that would come down as the years go by?
That was as of last March. It had him as, it was of April 1st of last year. He had the 18th highest buyout.
And listen, I think Gene Taylor's made some mistakes. I think this contract is probably a mistake, but I understand, like, I get what happened there. Hey, I've got Arkansas. This offer's real. Gene Taylor certainly saw it as real. And he's like, well, I don't know that I can throw around, some kind of John Calipari numbers, right? But what I can do is make sure you get all of what you're going to get. We're off to a great start. Let's keep doing it. And I could see where that would be a good sales pitch to the president, to the money guys. Look, I'm not going to come asking you for more for his salary, but he's going to be our guy. Are we all in that he's our guy? And if he didn't go talk to anybody and he just did it,
why wouldn't your answer have been yes too? Like 3 years
because he had been the coach 2 years and he'd made it once and not made it. I mean,
I'm saying like originally, because they addressed that immediately as well. I mean, early on the tenure early on looked pretty good.
It after 1 year looked fantastic. After 2 years, it looked like okay, it still looks good. I mean, he went to the Elite Eight, he'll bounce right back. And that's when the decision had to be made. So I do agree. The contract is not good because you're in the get-it-right business when you're talking about that kind of money and spending other people's monies. And so it's not a good contract. Not right now, because right now they should be talking about where they're going to go with the head coaching position. And barring some kind of major turnaround. And even what Gene Taylor, when I interviewed him right after he got the athletic director's job, he is not living up to what Gene Taylor said he expected from the basketball coach. That was easier to say when Bruce Weber, a guy you didn't hire, was the guy you were talking about. Now you're talking about a guy you did hire and presumably have an affinity for. He certainly makes it sound like he likes him a lot, and I'm sure he does. But I do understand how they got here, but it's not looking good because I think the K-State fan base is showing that they're not coming out to the games. And if you ask them, should we be moving on? The answer would be yes. And they're not going to be moving on.
I was thinking about this from this perspective is like, what is it going to take to feel better about where K-State is? Because I don't know that this team has that in them. Like last year, for example, they played much better down the stretch, and that included a win against KU. And anytime you're in Manhattan, you feel really good about a win against KU, even if it's a KU on a down year. And then they started kickstarting something to where it's like, all right, it took this team longer than it should have, but they do have something building here. And I mean, now they're 4-9 in their last 13 games, and I don't really know what's going to change the feeling about K-State this year. And so, it's going to then the answer to that question about what makes you feel better about where they're headed has to go into the offseason all of a sudden as far as who you have coming in. And you're going to have to work a transfer portal that, let's face it, for the last 2 years they haven't done a great job with. I mean, they've gotten some players, but they haven't put a team, a competitive Big 12 team together. So, like, your answer becomes something that you haven't done over the past 2 years then.
Yeah. Gene Taylor said, I said, what's the expectation for the basketball program? And when he got here, he said, well, it's to compete for conference championships. And I said, the tournament? He said, to be in the tournament most years.
Like what Bruce Weber did.
Bruce Weber, at that point, was not in the tournament most years. What was Bruce Weber's, what did he go, about 50%?
Let me see.
I think he went better than that, didn't he?
Did he? He might have. I might not be giving him enough credit. But, yeah.
I'd always thought whenever Bruce Weber was done there that it might look a little better. Now, his last 3 years were a bad run. Like, it was time.
Yeah.
5 of the first 7, and then the last 3 out. So
okay.
it was
50%,
50%, 5 of 10.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, 2 shares of conference titles during that time, right?
Oh, it's like an Elite Eight.
Yeah, I'd always thought that time, 15 years down the road might look like a pretty good stretch.
13
for
and
K-State.
13 and 41 in conference the last 3 years.
Yeah, the last 3 years. It was time.
We all agree it was
They
time.
had to do something, but my point was there were complaints before those last 3 years too. And that 7-year stretch was a pretty good stretch for K-State.
Yeah, and now they're going to be out 3 in a row, 3 of us 4, and you're paralyzed. You can't make a move.
And this is something that you and I may have talked about this before, but like you're 5 games into the conference season, and like it feels over. And like why wouldn't it feel over? Like, I mean, in order for K, like what's going to suddenly flip the switch for K-State this year? And I think the frustrating part, like if you're a K-State fan, is for the last couple of years, especially I think it was 2 years ago, like your defense was great. You played great defense. Last year you played pretty good defense. You could not score like you could score. And this year suddenly they're scoring with more regularity and you can't get a stop. Just can't get a stop. And so like when you think about, and this isn't just applicable to college basketball, but any sport, you would say, what defines that coach? Like what are the staples of this program in general? And, you know, I mean, you could come up with Nick Saban stuff. You come up with Bill Self and just the staples. It's why, you know, Bill Self, it drives him nuts when his team's not good defensively, because that's supposed to be their staple, is good man-to-man defense. The offense, I mean, yes, you coach and teach the offense, but you're supposed to be a good man-to-man defensive team. You play hard. You know, you play tough. It's why he calls his team soft every November or December, like, because he considers that foundational to what they do. When, you know, I mean, they're outside of the top 100 defensively this year in terms of, you know, efficiency. And the previous 2 years, they've been outside the top 100, I think, offensively. So, like, I don't know necessarily, like, what's the identity of the program, not just this team, but the program.
I asked Gene Taylor in the summer, you know, the portal and, you know, the way it worked last year and spending a lot of money not getting out. He said, I think Coach Tang has learned his lesson, and we're not reacting. We're not going in late. Coach Tang went in early with more of a mindset towards building a team. I mean, it seems like maybe he did. He overreacted, like, I need more scoring punch.
Yeah.
And then forgot about the defense, you know?
I think a lot of coaches have always thought that, hey, let's get the scoring, and I can coach the defense. Because if you're good athletes, I can coach you defensively. And, look, I mean, when the last 2 years they've been okay defensively, and when you're not this year, to me that speaks to a major part of the discipline.
Well, and I think in reality, you want to get a foundation early, but you want to have some money ready to go, because the star player on their Elite Eight team they got like in July or something.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a bit of both. The pendulum may be going right by where it needs to be, defense to offense. Yeah. Early to late, and we're missing the middle and where they should be.
Every one of their losses this year, they've given up at least 78 points.
Yeah, that's good D.
All right, Broncos, the 9th team since the merger in 1970 to start 2 different quarterbacks in the same postseason. Who was the first to do it? Brought to you by La Feta Delicatessen.
Fourth quarter of the program begins right now as we finish strong here on a Tuesday. It's the 5 o'clock hour. We've got a lot still to come your way, including our college basketball insider. We're going to talk to Gary Parrish about the world of college hoops. All three of your local schools. We'll get into that. We'll see if we've got some time for the national news after that. So we look forward to talking to Gary Parrish coming up here in a little bit. Time now for our Need to Know, brought to you by our friends at Applause Custom Sight and Sound. They're Kansas City's best when it comes to your in-home theaters, when it comes to your smart home technology. More than 20 years in business, locally owned and operated. That is Applause Custom Sight and Sound, whether it's rocket fast Wi-Fi networking, whether it's maybe rocket fast Wi-Fi out on your porch, your patio. It's one of the things we've got, one of the things we love. Applause did that for us. In-home theater, security and surveillance, that's the latest thing we added. When you build the system right with Applause Custom Sight and Sound, makes it so much easier to add on, to evolve, to adjust, to keep up with the technology. Call Applause today, 913-498-1183. Find them on the web at applausetheater.com. Let's get things started with a little national championship football. Last night, Indiana, a good win. I won't say convincing, but it's convincing in the sense that they won.
Never trailed, answered every call.
That's right. Miami, I thought, had a pretty good outing. In fact, I think they were good enough to win the game. I don't think this was Indiana. Certainly wasn't Georgia, TCU.
No.
Which some of us thought it could be.
At some point, I think it was when it was 10-7, one point it was like 130-something to 18 or something. Some ridiculous yardage difference. And it was like Indiana's just dominating this game, and they were only up 10, and they got to be 10-7. I'm like, well, Indiana didn't make nearly as much of their early dominance as they could have and probably should have. They did it every single moment.
Yeah.
Every time Miami would score, Indiana would score, and every time Indiana would score, Miami would put it right back there. That was the second half of that game last night was fabulous.
Yeah, it was. I thought the first half was good.
Yeah.
It was, it's where you see a lot, sparring, testing, probing, seeing what you got.
But sometimes when the scores go back and forth, it's like defense sucks. These guys were just making great plays.
They were, and I think that's part of what I've always said. If a team goes down the field and gets a touchdown, the other team's getting at least 3.
Yeah.
Or they're turning the ball over, because I think once. When it's conservative, we didn't get anywhere. They didn't get anything. 3 and out. Well, whatever you do, don't screw it up. And I think, and then the game starts to loosen up.
Yep.
Then it starts to be like, well, I'm looking at the clock. We got to get points. Let's go. And you call the good plays, right? And I think the defense starts to wear down, and so then the tempo picks up and it starts going back and forth. So, greatest game ever? No. Great game? No. I'd call it a great game.
I would. I think the second half was.
I'd call it a great game.
Was good enough from the midway part of the first half to the end.
I even think the first half, the defensive part of the equation was impressive. I thought all around. I thought
the funniest
game.
moment was the Miami offensive lineman flattening Pons. You see the replay. He goes out there to block something, and it's just like, sit down, kid.
Yeah.
It's the biggest physical mismatch I've ever seen. A tackle on a defender.
6'9", 340 will do that.
Pons is like 5'8", 160.
Kurt Cignetti, the head coach of the national championship Indiana Hoosiers, was asked what he was thinking on that fourth down. Well, we had a big fourth down call, right? The one this is for the fourth, and this is the second one, right? The 4th and 5.
The touchdown.
4th and 5 that results in a touchdown. He had a field goal unit out there, brings him off the field. I was asked what he was thinking on that call.
That particular play didn't feel really good about kicking a field goal there. The play before, they were in the coverage for the quarterback draw, which we put in specifically in the medium package in the low red against that look. We had to block it a little different than we normally do, and that was about a 45-minute discussion in the staff room how we were going to call it and do it. Line did a great job executing, so the back, and Fernando trucked the linebacker, broke a few tackles, and I can't say enough about his effort on that play and our team finding a way to get it done.
He trucked the linebacker.
There's a lot in there, too. He said medium in the low red.
Yeah, medium.
So medium is in medium distance.
Yeah.
They had 4th and 4, 4th and 5.
Yeah,
I think I've seen both on what it was. And then the low red, meaning
inside the 10 probably.
Well, no, meaning outside. You're just into the, because he was at the 15.
That's
wasn't
right.
he?
That's right.
So low red, the high red would be 2, 3, 4. Down there. Get into more goal line.
That makes sense.
And so he said they spent 45 minutes on that play.
That's the part that got me. I mean, how we're going to they were in the formation.
And they wanted a coverage. They wanted a certain coverage, and they got it. He said that on the sideline. I don't know if did he say that there?
He said that there, too.
Okay. Because
the previous play, they had gotten the coverage they wanted, and so They said we had to block it differently, but 45 minutes they spent talking about how they were going to block that thing up. It's preparation. I mean, maybe other teams do that, but that's a lot of time to spend on one play. But it was one of the
Time
two or
well
three
spent.
biggest plays.
And you can do that if everything else your team executes really well.
Yes.
You're not Band-Aiding things together, and I think that's part of the problem for the Chiefs. And Andy Reid said something like that. I don't remember what week it was, but I asked him something about the offense. He said, well, it's tough when you're trying to fix problems or when you're trying to fix holes or
I remember that.
solve issues or something like that. Like, well, we can't get to being what we want to be because we can't. The foundation is still being repaired.
Yeah.
So we can't build the top of the house till we fix the foundation, was what he said, which will be interesting to see how, that changes with the Chiefs. But, they could spend 45 minutes on it because they weren't having to go back and fix 5 other things. How about Mendoza, the quarterback? He was asked what he thought of the play.
Yeah, a big concept that we've really had on ourselves this year is always betting on ourselves. Whether it's preseason, no one thinks we can make it. Whether it's figuring it out in situations like Oregon, Penn State, and Iowa, we've always figured it out. And whenever Coach Signetti, Coach Shanahan, they called that play, we knew, hey, we're going to bet ourselves one more time in the biggest stage of the game. And at that point, I took the drop, and it wasn't the perfect coverage for it, but I trust my linemen, and everybody in that entire offense and entire team had a gritty performance today, and we're all putting our bodies on the line. So it's the least I could do for my brothers.
Those two, man. What a amazing, coach, head coach, quarterback, national championship. Because both of them are really compelling stories.
Signetti's in his 60s already, so if you told me that Signetti's going to win 3 of the next 8, or he's going to win 3 out of an 8-year career, I'd buy it. If you also tell me that they're good, but they're never this great again, and that we look back and go, well, it was the magic of that kid with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
At this moment, riding the top of the wave of the portal and the NIL, I'll believe that too. I think it's going to be interesting. Is this the new norm, or is this just a moment in time? We'll find out. They'll have a chance to prove that it's the new norm.
Who wins more national championships in the next 5 years, Ohio State or Indiana?
Great question. I would lean towards Ohio State.
Yeah.
Just on the bigger body of work.
Yep.
Ryan Day's been there, done that too. So it'll be interesting. John Harbaugh announced today as the head coach of the Giants. He was asked where he starts.
It starts with building a team that is physical and tough, that's capable of overwhelming their opponent from beginning to end, and especially at the end, that understands how to finish, that is smart and disciplined, that plays the game the way it should be played, and that everybody watching it, including those playing it, will be proud of. We're going to work together. We got great and talented people to accomplish a shared mission. It'll be a relentless commitment to this organization, to the city, and the fans to do things the right way every single day. Nothing will be taken for granted. It will always, always be all about the team. The team, the team, the team.
What's it about, Coach?
Well, I think the team. He said we got great people. One of those great people would, you hope, be the quarterback. Harbaugh was asked if having Jackson Dart was part of his decision.
You build your team around your quarterback. I mean, you build your team around your players and what they do well. And I like the way he plays. I mean, I like his talent, skill set, all the things he's accomplished. But more than that, I like who he is and what he's about. And to me, he's about football. I mean, this young guy loves football. He wants to talk football all the time, and that's kind of what I like doing too. So I think we're gonna have a lot of great conversations. And I can't wait to get started with him.
Someone's gonna have to talk some sense into him to quit getting his ass kicked out there on the field all the time. And I hope that John Harbaugh will start there. Hey, Lamar ran, but Lamar protected himself. You got to do the same thing. So stop that nonsense. The quarterback's too damn important to be risking himself the way he is. He said, finish games. Finish regular season games? Oh, I'm on board. But have the proven ability to finish playoff games?
No.
Yes and no. I mean, he did win a championship.
Not for a while.
But it's been a little bit since they finished playoff games.
Been to one conference championship since they won the Super Bowl.
We're going to find out, was that problems that he left behind, or is that a problem that he brings with him to New York? One more from John Harbaugh about maybe taking some time off. He was asked if he'd considered that.
I figured I didn't have enough time to take time off. There's no time for that. So just couldn't wait to get back to work. That was never a question, really. Ingrid and I talked about it. Ingrid's ready to go, too, so we're fired up, and it had to be the right opportunity. This was kind of the obvious one from the beginning. This was the one, like I said, I wanted, and I wanted it because of that very thing you just talked about. We have an opportunity to go win, and I like these players, man. I had a chance to watch tape. I like the way they play. I like their style. I like how physical and how tough they are, and I know they want to be successful and they want to go to work. So absolutely, we can do that, and that's our plan to do that. The plan is to win every game. I mean, one game at a time. You go into every game planning to win that game. That's our expectation. That's what we will be expecting to do that. But we've got to earn the right to expect that by how we go to work and prepare, and what kind of a team that we make ourselves into.
What's his tenure look like?
I think they'll be better than they have been in a little while, but he's got a nice quarterback, but they haven't done anything since for some time, and I don't think it'll be as good as Giant fans probably hope it will be, but I think it'll be pretty good.
Okay. I mean, it looks pretty similar to the situation Andy Reid took over.
Yep.
So we'll see if he has the same kind of results there. We'll take a break. Let's talk college basketball. Gary Parrish is next.